Breakfast Show 2.0 reloaded, uploaded, downloaded. And we're just going small. By next Friday, we'll get to 200.
Imagine.
We'll have a nice party. How about that? Yes. How was your weekend?
Great.
Yeah?
I had an awesome weekend.
Were you in the region?
Yep.
Okay. Out.
Let's change the subject.
Now, I want to tell you why. I went to the Volta region.
I saw you.
Yes. I went to Sogakop. Yeah, and it was one of my aunties who passed away. Okay. So we went to mourn with the family and everything. This is Lini Tamaklo. And then we had the funeral reception at Villa Awoyo. Beautiful place, waterfront.
And that's why I want to change the subject, because I'm so envious of you.
It was nice.
I saw where you were. I'm like, CAF needs to come back to Accra to report for duty immediately.
I came back that same day.
You arrived alive.
And I passed on a deadly bridge between Dawenya and Afienya. We'll show you the pictures. Deadly bridge.
Deadly.
If it was a movie, it would be Deadly Bridge Part 1 and 2.
We don't want that.
Oh, yeah. Talking of deadly too, we're dealing with mosquitoes. Today is World Malaria Day. Then Charlie, malaria. How do we deal with it? 6:30, we have a conversation on that.
I'll have a sit down with the members of the May Day Planning Committee. Of course, Sunday is May Day, and so because it's a weekend, it's going to hop off to Monday, and then hopefully Tuesday is also a holiday because multi So we're going to have a very long weekend. But ahead of May Day, labor issues are going to be front and center of discussions. And of course, TUC has already started throwing jabs at government. They said no minimum wage below the inflation rate. So if inflation is 20%, they want minimum wage to also increase by that same amount. So we'll be interrogating that matter a bit further right here on GTV Breakfast, brought to you by Awake Purified Mineral Water and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink.
Somebody is scanning through her notes because she has to deliver on point, and here she is. Madam, you're on.
Good morning, my neighbors. Good morning. I don't know whether to call it Cherry Monday, Mellow Monday, but it's whatever it takes you to motivate yourself for the day. Guys, in my trends, I have Sandra. I don't know why Sandra is trending. Erasmus is trending. Prison Break is back again. Emmanuel Macron is trending. And of course, Kotoko is in the trends. I don't know why. But later on the yellow couch, I'll be sitting down with the youngest beat maker ever in Ghana. Look, we have some goodies to unlock. And then also, we started the drive, Fix the Traffic Lights Now, and then hashtag Fix the Traffic Lights. We are continuing today. We are going to parts of the capital and then across the country as well. So we'll be linking with our guys across the country to bring us what if their traffic lights are working or not. Also remember to send all your comments and interactions to our WhatsApp number 055-5561-034, and if you use the hashtag GTV Breakfast, we are everywhere. Kaf, up to you.
Yes, thank you so much. Sponsored by Stallion Outlook. Look for them on Instagram, Stallion Outlook, and yeah, give them a call.
Yes, and give Biggie Scissors a call for this. Okay. Thank you.
I think a 12. What is the male equivalent?
Perhaps this. There you go. So welcome to GTV Breakfast. The breakfast news is at 6 a.m. with Multi T. Stay with us.
At the Flex. Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on GTV Breakfast News at 6 a.m. I am Maltiti Saida Sadiq. Stories making headlines at the 21st congregation to confer degrees on some 3,000 students on Saturday in Accra. The Vice Chancellor of UPSA, Professor Abednego Amate, advised technical universities to remain focused on their mandate to provide the requisite skills for the country's development needs.
Professor Amate said the development fortunes of every economy and for Ghana is for academia to train the youth with critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, time management, amongst others. He posited that traditional universities have their mandates of providing knowledge-based skills for companies, while technical universities provide applied and research-based support for same.
There's a need for technical universities to concentrate on their core mandate of training the youth to develop technical skills and competencies to feed the industrial operations for the development and growth of the country.
For Professor Mate, it is worrying that some technical universities are admitting high numbers of students into humanities instead of applied and technical fields. He, however, commended the Accra Technical University, ATU, for staying focused. The Minister for Education, Dr. Yaose Educhum, urged universities to arrange with companies for campus recruitment.
If people are recruited directly, we should find a way for them to do their national service concurrently while they embark on a full-time employment with companies that need their services. That is what will encourage companies to come here and recruit.
The ATU Vice Chancellor, Professor Samuel Ni Odai, said the university has chalked up some successes over time. The school acquired accreditation from the FDA to manufacture PPE and hand sanitizers, amongst others, at the peak of COVID-19. It also procured enough furniture for the school. The ATU has launched an Enhancing Student Experience Fund to support the needy.
Our departments of fashion, design and textiles also designed and sold 250 beautiful academic gowns worn by our students.
3,000 students graduated with degrees, diplomas and certificates.
Let's look at road infrastructure, where there's looming danger on the Himang-Echiase Road in the Efija-Kwabre South District of the Ashanti region. Massive erosion has rendered one side of the single carriageway impassable for both motorists and pedestrians. The eroded parts of the road, which has now become a death trap, has also exposed the major underground pipeline of the Ghana Water Company connecting the Brekese Water Treatment Plant to the Swame municipality. According to some residents, several calls to the district assembly for the problem to be fixed has yielded no results.
This problem has existed for more than 7 years, and authorities have turned a blind eye to the problem.
Many taxi for chairman say me ko achiase anase bronu bi da ho ye frɛ ho na na boache passenger na yafa wo ma ye de omu kwen se nyame anya dom na wo feli break na koto sa amena we mu a ye beka ho asem sei na dmofo mpanimfo nyina ba amena yi ho kɔ ba ye nyamwa bia
kwan we na kasa no aya na me chese me dwen me ho aya na me ntiase efise abo aye pai no ha yi enwa.
The main pipe from the Ghana Water Company has been exposed. The problem must be fixed now to avert any eventuality.
The way car be said, I was no quite the best ramping for now or more area hand say, yes, no more no mere quite a mile. Momma assembling yet and congo see and son of my man's own baby boy.
We fear for our lives when it rains. Most drivers refuse to use these routes because of the looming danger.
Now the care bar. Wouldn't say, I told them piebo. So, baby, Tom, so, ye day, and crop on school na ye bar. agudie bi bam no obi pia obi eno ya asem ti yesra mo ye pamocho mo ma nipa enwu ansa because ni edro ni de aye ewuo ne nkwankwa nta ne ye nenam amra na ye mre ensoto bi anebu se kasa efa ha nyina bebre ja efa and kasa kofa school for no.
This is a death trap for all, especially students who use this route when they close from school.
On hwe no meye man nyasa ka bi betomu a emfa papa emafie.
Still on road infrastructure development, experts say Ghana must critically focus on mobilizing resources to construct roads if she wants to save the public purse. With the capital-intensive nature of road construction, many say the best bet is to save the country from excessive borrowing to rely on internally generated funds to construct roads. In an exclusive interview with GBC News' Beatrice Senaju, the National Development Planning Commission boss, Mr. Kojo Mensah Abrampa, explained that for Ghana to develop, there must be a conscious effort to cut down on borrowing from abroad to build roads.
Roads are vital to any development agenda. Development agents argue that the roads link workers to jobs, producers to markets, students to schools, and the sick to hospitals. Sector including agricultural, services, and manufacturing sectors all rely on a good road network to do business. Many roads are asphalted in the capital. Majority of them still remain untarred. In the rural areas, many complain that the roads are very poor. Even though over the years, various governments have worked hard to improve on Ghana's road network, many more communities are still left out. The National Development Planning Commission says road construction is very expensive and resources available for construction and maintenance are woefully inadequate.
The challenge we have is that roads, we must know, are very expensive, and the quantum of resources that are available for constructing new roads and maintaining our roads is very, very challenged given our needs. So very often you will see government going for loans and borrowing to do roads. That has been the trend. Mobilizing resources and revenue to do roads has been a challenge. We often borrow.
Mr. Mensah Abrampa explained that there are various ways Ghana can construct her roads without relying on loans and borrowing from foreign donors. He proposes public-private partnership and user fee methods as the way to go.
If you want to have good roads, you know, the panacea is not borrowing to make good roads. We basically do not have any breathing space. We need to mobilize local revenue to be able to take up this task of constructing our roads and maintaining them. If we're able to do that, it becomes more predictable, it becomes more reliable, and it facilitates planning. So that if you go and you look for a loan and you don't get it, then the road is not done. But then if you're mobilizing locally, you know that this is how much we can mobilize and this is how much we can.
On the poor road network in rural communities, Mr. Abrampa said harnessing the many opportunities in the rural areas by making them viable can attract investors. He said such proceeds can be channeled into developing roads.
The challenge in the rural areas is that very often the managers of these rural areas, particularly those of us at the local government level, we don't make these areas viable. There are a lot of economic opportunities in these rural areas. How do we mobilize? How do we get these rural areas to be able to make themselves viable? Because viability becomes a key thing in attracting investment.
On the outlook, the NDPC says a consultative approach can wean Ghana off donors by adopting new methods in fixing problems in Ghana's road sector. Beatrice Senaju, GBC News, Accra.
Let's look at tourism now, where an African-American tour operator and investor been installed as the tourism chief of Ituri, a town near Elmina in the central region. Macquarie is expected to build infrastructure and set up a scholarship scheme for students in the town, which is said to be the gateway to Elmina. Rashad Magrori came to Ghana in late February 2020 to attend Ghana's Independence Day celebration and has since remained in the country. At a point, this tour operator, who has visited a number of African countries in the past, was introduced to the Itre royal family, and a decision to develop the community and promote tourism then took root. Rashad Magrori now has the stool name Nana Kofi Kudru the first. The young entrepreneur is recognized as an American authority figure in travel and repatriation to Africa. He is on record to have brought about 400 individuals, mostly Africans in the diaspora, back to the continent. Itre, which is about 2 kilometers from the Elmina Castle, is home to some of the slave dungeons.
Itre is the gateway to Ghana, to Elmina. Coming from Accra, you can't get to the slave dungeon, you can't get to where we are now without traveling through Itre. Itre is a gate, so we have to build up that gate.
Nana Kofi Kudru, who is also an author and a journalist, is known to have written articles promoting African and African diaspora relations. He holds a bachelor's degree in sociology and anthropology from the Dowling University in New York, master's degree in public administration from the Carney Baruch University, New York, and master's in theology from the Drew University, New Jersey. Let's look at our Chopology series, and this deep fried plantain recipe is quite addictive and quick and easy to make. It only takes just about 15 minutes to prepare from start to finish. It is a popular snack in Ghana and easy to get to buy in the capital city, Accra. Plantain chips are made from thinly sliced and ripe or sweet plantains that are deep fried until crisp and golden and sprinkled with salt or seasoning to taste. Let's snack on what the hawkers of this delicious snack call plantain on Chopology.
This plantain chip special edition on Chopology will carefully explain the preparation process of both ripe and unripe plantain chips. The green or unripe plantains yield crunchy chips because they crisp better, while the ripe plantain yields sweeter tasting chips but not as crisp as the unripe plantain. However, if you choose to make use of the ripe ones, use slightly ripe plantains, but please make sure they are still so that you have that desired crisp and crunch. The other ingredients are odorless oil for deep frying and salt to taste. Heat oil in the pan till hot. Remove peel of plantains. Using a vegetable slicer or knife, slice the plantains preferably in a round disc or coin shape, as it is easier that way. Put plantains in the oil while stirring slowly to separate them apart.
No, it's ripe and it's soft. So if you do not do it slowly, it will be breaking. And you don't have to stir it for long. I want to get the shape round, something like this. Like this. Bring it up slowly and spread it.
Stir from time to time till the plantains are golden brown. Note, keep an eye on them as they go from brown to burnt quickly.
Now it's okay.
Strain from the oil into a sieve or bowl lined with tissue paper. Season with salt immediately. Repeat same process for the unripe plantain. Plantain chips can be stored in an airtight container for 7 days at room temperature. Eat them as appetizers or snacks. They easily stem the pangs of hunger.
Let's look at trade now. Persistent tariff and non-tariff barriers and abnormal practices continue to slow down free movement of goods and services within the ECOWAS bloc. After 2 days regional stakeholder workshop on promoting small-scale cross-border trade, rule of law and use of technology, the case of 6 countries in West Africa. The chairman of ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme Task Force, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambas, has called for the removal of bottlenecks hampering the free movement of goods and services, which is affecting development. He advocated the use of modern technologies in this direction. Trade Liberalization Scheme (ETLS) was set up to facilitate a free trade area. It is one of the major economic achievements for the operation of a common market and the regional integration of West Africa. However, the scheme has been weakened by persistent tariff and non-tariff barriers and abnormal practices observed on the various corridors of the ECOWAS bloc. The situation has resulted in low competitiveness of national economies and the ability to attract investment, create jobs and wealth for the improvement of the standard of living of the populations. At a two-day sub-regional stakeholder workshop on promoting small-scale cross-border trade, rule of law and use of technology, the chairman of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme Task Force, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambas, called for the removal of bottlenecks hampering the free movement of goods and services within the sub-regional bloc.
This current generation, you need to really step up and do better than past generations, post-colonial period, and truly help us to work to remove these barriers and move towards genuine and deeper sub-regional integration, continental integration.
Dr. Chambers said there is the need for ECOWAS to catch up with other regional integration blocs such as the European Union and Asia, whose intra-trading is about 68% and 65%. The executive director of POS Foundation, Mr. Jonathan Osewusu, said the workshop will provide the platform for stakeholders in trade to dialogue and identify challenges and prospects existing within small-scale cross-border trade in selected West African countries.
We need to have some basic understanding to let the Burkina Faso migration have the access to communicate with that of Ghana, that of Cote d'Ivoire, that of Nigeria, so that we will be able to facilitate trade and trade liberalization will be achieved in our continent.
The workshop was under the auspices of POS Foundation in partnership with the Ghana International Trade Commission with support from GIZ. Participants were drawn from Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. On the international front, the World Health Organization is reporting a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Although only one case has been confirmed so far, there are concerns the outbreak could spread as the patient was not diagnosed and isolated quickly. An Ebola outbreak in West Africa between 2013 and 2015 caused at least 11,000 deaths. The hemorrhagic disease has a mortality rate of around 50%. This latest Ebola outbreak started in Mbandaka, a densely populated city with road and air links to the capital, Kinshasa. The patient was ill for more than a week before he sought treatment, and he died the day he was admitted to hospital. The WHO's Africa Emergencies Manager, Fiona Braka, said the delay in medical care is a concern. She added that it is important that they quickly identify all the contacts and that the necessary isolation and monitoring is done to ensure that all those that are potentially infected are identified quickly to curb the spread of the disease. This is DR Congo's 6th Ebola outbreak since 2018. Its health workers have experienced, and it has a stockpile of vaccines. A massive contact tracing operation is now underway and a vaccination campaign. The country's last outbreak was limited. It recorded just 11 cases and 6 deaths. The hope is this outbreak, despite the delay, can be controlled in the same way. Let's go to Nigeria, where at least 50 people were killed in southern Nigeria in an explosion at an illegal oil refinery. Dozens of people were thought to have been working at the refining plant when they were caught in the huge fire. Many were burnt beyond recognition.
High levels of poverty and unemployment have made illegal oil refinery an attractive business for many residents of the oil-rich communities in southern Nigeria. The authorities have been struggling to curb the production of the illegal plants where stolen crude oil is refined. It is not yet clear what caused the explosion that happened sometime overnight into Saturday, but accidents have been common in the past at similar dangerous sites where safety measures are not enforced. There have been concerns over a lack of precautions at such facilities as well as environmental pollution. But Nigeria's official oil refineries do not work for capacity, causing frequent fuel shortages and price increases across the country.
In Tunisia, at least 12 people have died and another 10 are missing after 4 boats carrying 120 African migrants and refugees sank off Tunisia as they tried to cross the Mediterranean to Italy. A lieutenant colonel in the Tunisian Coast Guard says 98 people were rescued off the coast of Sfax. The coastline of Sfax has become a major departure point for people fleeing conflict and poverty in Africa and the Middle East and seeking a better life in Europe. The Interior Ministry said this week that it had arrested more than 20,000 migrants and refugees off its coast last year. In recent months, dozens of people have drowned, with an increase in the frequency of attempted crossings from Tunisia and Libya towards Italy. We'll take the weather reports now from Felicity Ahafianyo, who will bring us the weather update. And we're speaking to Felicity Ahafianyo, who's on the phone line. She's going to give us the weather update so that you'll be able to plan your day and your week. What is happening? Is it going to rain? Is the sun going to shine throughout? Ahafianyo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to our dear viewers and listeners. For today, we are not expecting any rain. Just some few areas, so it's going to be partly cloudy and sunny across the 16 regions. From late afternoon to evening, we have expected some area, 40% chance of rain and thunder over Swedro, Cape Coast, Takrady, Axim, Koko, Florida, Achimda, and part of Takwa. So for today, no much activities is anticipated. Temperatures for Accra will be 33. Ho will be 35, Tamale will be 37. Those going to Wabo, Gatanga will have a high of 39 degrees Celsius. So our fisher folks that will be going onto the sea. The state of the sea for today is still rough, especially those over the East Coast. So they should do their activities still with caution. For this week, we have a satellite picture on now. The system that is approaching is still exiting from Sudan into Cameroon, and is likely to take about 24 to 36 hours from now. So we are anticipating it between tomorrow to Thursday. So we'll be monitoring it once we are certain we'll issue the warning. But then let's be aware that there is a system that is approaching Ghana.
Swift weather update. Madam Felicity, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, I just wanted everybody to make it a point to get to the forecast everything once in the other in the morning or in the evening, so you can plan your daily activities. And then those that are at the low-lying areas, they should always be cautious, clear, distill their gutters so that anytime we have enough water, it will not be a disturbance to them.
Thank you, Felicity Ahafianyo, for that weather forecast. You heard Felicity say that 40% of rainfall may be expected around Axim, Koforidua. In Accra, the temperature will be 33 degrees Celsius. In Tamale, up north, 37 degrees Celsius, and the sea is likely to be rough, so fishermen should be cautious when they go to catch fish. And that's the weather report for you. How are you planning your day? How are you traveling? This will update you. Stay with us. We'll take a break. When we're back, GTV Breakfast continues. I am Maltiti Saida Sadiq.
But later metamorphosed gain, wanton dissipation of our rich natural resources and human capital.
Government is moving in to provide a 3-story hostel facilities for our training colleges as well.
It's moving in.
Pleadings and bleedings were the order of the day. They left only the container after consuming the content. What is the state of the leftovers? Remnants of slave masters.
Everybody put your hands together.
Enyola. Good morning. That song is dedicated to everybody who is called Enyonam. You know, so Enyonam Gajesu, Enyonam, Enyo Kumaho. In fact, tag every Enyo. Tell every Enyo that, listen, we just played a song for all of them. Enyo, it's good. Yeah, everything is going to be all right. No matter what's happening in your life, it is going to be all right. If you're shivering and shaking because of malaria, Enyo Yoga, it will be well, okay? Today is World Malaria Day, and to discuss the issues around malaria and those pesky little mosquitoes, we have with us a postdoctoral fellow at the immunology department of Noguchi, the Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Festus Kojo Aqua. Festus, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kampu.
Good to have you here. Do we say Happy World Malaria Day? Although malaria doesn't make us happy.
I know, right?
Yeah, so today is 25th April, is World Malaria Day.
Yes, 25th, every 25th April since 2008 has been marked for the recount of malaria in terms of challenges and successes we've made in controlling the disease.
Why is it that malaria continues to worry us here in West Africa? I know that it's been eradicated in other parts of the world. In some parts of the USA and Europe, they used to have malaria.
Yes.
What happened? And why are we still battling these mosquitoes?
Yes. Like you said, you mentioned mosquitoes, right? Yes. It's because we still have these vectors hovering around us that are infected with parasites. Yes. So, malaria is still around because we still have a lot of mosquitoes hovering around that are transmitting the infection from infected people to uninfected people. And another major problem of malaria control is referred to as asymptomatic parasite carriage.
Break it down for us, my brother.
Yes. This is when somebody actually carries the parasite without knowing that he has the parasite because he's not feeling feverish and he's not showing any symptoms. So in such a situation, the person is referred to as an asymptomatic parasite carrier. And such people are important because they produce transmissible forms of the parasites that can be transmitted by the mosquito to uninfected people who might end up being symptomatic.
Meaning, if I am asymptomatic, a mosquito could bite me.
Yes.
And then go and bite you.
Yes.
Who doesn't have malaria.
Yes, and I may get malaria whilst you may still be healthy, not showing any symptoms of malaria. Yeah, that is a major problem for malaria control. Yeah.
In terms of people falling sick and people dying, what are the statistics for Ghana? I mean, mortality, morbidity.
Okay, thank you very much. As of 2020, about 5 million people were estimated to have been to have gotten malaria.
In Ghana alone?
Yes, in Ghana alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like 1 in 6.
Yeah. That's like 5 million people. And we had about 275 of them dying.
275,000 or 275?
275, not in thousands.
Okay, just 275 died. It's still a lot. One person dying is
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Makes it very important as an infectious disease.
And so, in terms of people who are affected, what are we looking at in terms of gender, adults, children? Who tends to be most affected by malaria?
Okay, it's often children at the below 5 years. Although in recent years we've seen changing epidemiology of the disease. In that we have a lot of controls in place for these groups because we've known them to be very vulnerable. However, the epidemiology is changing such that now children between 5 and 15 years are tending up to be the most burdened. And apart from these groups, also pregnant women are also at risk of, are also pretty burdened. Yeah.
Why is that so? Why are children more at risk? Why are pregnant women more at risk?
Yes, this is because in these situations you have lower immunity. Yes, like, I mean, I'm sure you'll be familiar with the fact that as you grow, the number of times you get malaria seems to decrease, and how severe the infection is to you seems to decrease because you build you build your immunity as you grow. So in this younger group, they tend to have a less developed immune system, let me say. and this makes them more susceptible to developing severe disease.
How about pregnant women? Their systems are quite robust.
But in pregnancy, actually, you also have reduced immunity.
Okay.
Yeah. So
for some time. Okay, go ahead.
And also, the placenta produced during pregnancy provides an additional tissue for malaria parasites to invade. Okay. So when they stay in this tissue for long, they can, affect the health of the baby who is even unborn, apart from the mother.
Okay. From the early 2000s, it seemed to me that every year around June, I had malaria. What was going on? Every year, I could almost predict that I was going to get malaria in June.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, this is because, like you first mentioned, the habitat of the vector, the mosquitoes, seem to be more abundant during this period. You realize that when the rainy season starts, we have a lot of water collecting around various places, and this creates a habitat for the mosquitoes. So this means that there will be more vectors to transmit the disease. That is why the probability that you get sick in July is that high. Yeah.
I see the theme for today's commemoration of World Malaria Day is being advance equity, build resilience, end malaria. When they say advance equity, what are they talking about?
Okay, so referring to the fact that we need to, currently the Malaria Control program is more or less targeted because of lack of funds. So by advancing equity, we are talking about means of mobilizing funds so that we can target all groups that need to be targeted to control malaria. That is what we mean by advancing equity, so we can target all groups. Yeah.
In terms of progress against in the fight against malaria, what is the scorecard for Ghana? How's Ghana doing?
Okay, we have been, we've achieved some progress so far. The control measures that have been put in place have given us some success. And as of 2017, we had about over 500 people dying from malaria. But now we have about 270. So we can clearly tell that we are making progress towards controlling the disease.
It's still too much, though. How do we get to zero deaths from malaria?
We all have roles to play. So our call for action is that zero malaria starts with me and you. Yes, in that when you think you are feverish, you are feeling sick, you just get tested for malaria and don't just self-medicate. And when you are confirmed for malaria also, make sure you complete the full dose, because I'm sure you know that in the past we didn't use ACTs to control malaria, but we had to switch from artemisinin-based combination therapies, the drugs that you take when you have malaria currently.
Okay. What are some of the brands that are in the market?
In fact, almost all the brands we have in Ghana ACTs. Here, yes, are ACTs.
Okay.
Yes. So we used to use chloroquine in the past. Yes. Now it's no more working. Why? Because people would not take their medications as directed by the physician, and this more or less produces resistance of the parasite. So now when you take the medication, it doesn't work again. That means the parasite can survive in you to be transmitted to other people. So we entreat everybody to take their medications as directed. Apart from that also, let's try to avoid creating the habitat for the mosquito vector. Because if there are no mosquitoes, there will be no infected mosquitoes. And if there are no infected mosquitoes, there will be no transmission of the malaria parasite. So this means that we need to get our drainages working well, and for those who have bowls or pots of water containers in which they store water, you make sure you cover them, because these avenues provide a breeding ground for the mosquito.
Are open gutters and me to fight malaria? Because everywhere you go in Ghana, there are very few communities which have closed gutters. So open gutters, are they helping?
Okay, for the malaria parasite, for the malaria vector, it doesn't like running water. Let me see. It doesn't like running water. It prefers stagnated water. in which it can breed. And it doesn't matter whether it is closed or open. What is most important is that it's not providing a place where water can be stagnated for the mosquitoes to breed.
But you will agree, though, that with an open gutter, the temptation is for you to throw your rubbish there, to throw stuff, and then you will now cause the water to stagnate.
Yeah.
Because there are blockages.
That is very true. That is very true. That is why we entreat all to avoid these behaviors. So probably, like you are saying, a closed gutter might, I mean, if you really want to do it, the opportunity won't be available because the gutter is closed. But apart from that, we should all avoid indiscriminate littering, because, I mean, you might not have dammed it into a gutter, but it may find its way somewhere, even in a closed gutter, because the gutter can't be totally closed. There must be some